I was mentioning something in my last reflection that I didn't finish, and it was about children dying of hunger in many countries. And people really scandalized about that, claiming for justice from God. And I experienced that in Africa one time in a mission, and I was very saddened with this. But the Lord showed me clearly that this is a temporary life. And all the events in this life is not like we think. They are most of the time the opposite of what we see. See? So these children that are starving, most of the time they are repairing for those that are overeating and are overindulging in many other places in the world. And they are reparation souls, victim souls. And so are so many other situations in life of human beings that are suffering. Look, we are here in this city of London today, in this convent of the Tyburn nuns, so lovely of a community, and I respect it a lot, and God bless them and keep them holy. And we are here reflecting upon the mysteries of our faith. But right now, there are people running away from bombs, from airplanes, from cannons, from tanks in Gaza, in Ukraine, in many other places in the world. They are killing people right now, dying. And people are hungry, and people are just wounded, and nobody's taking care of them. And you wonder, what can we do? And the answer, we cannot save the world. I cannot stop the war in Israel and Gaza. I cannot stop the war with Ukraine and Russia. I cannot stop all the wars in the world. Countries that are enslaved to communism for so many years, like Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and now others are coming in. And you wonder what you can do. Well, our martyrdom is a reparation mission. And the way to enter into this reparation is to know that our biggest contribution to make a difference, to make a change, is our holiness. And I know that I'm probably going to end up saying that all the time. But I tell you, there is nothing else to be done but to be holy. It's the only thing that makes a difference. People are worried about their families. I'm worried too about my sons and my grandchildren, of course. And what do? You cannot change anybody's hearts. You cannot. St. Paul teaches us, Paul planted, Apollo watered, but only God makes it grow. See, we have to plant the seed. We have to proclaim the gospel. But we have to remember, only God makes it grow. Only God can change the heart. Only God can lead them into Him. We cannot. So, what do you do about all these people that while we are here, they are suffering so much somewhere in the world? We have to be holy now, because then the Lord through us is going to console them. Just the fact that we are remembering them right now is consoling them somehow, because God works in mysterious ways. And sometimes the prayer of a little good person in another continent is healing someone that is desperate, miles away from that person. But that little prayer is taken by the Holy Spirit to heal and console a soul that is in despair and that is a good soul. And this is the way we combine and the way we share our faith from one side to another, because the Holy Spirit is the one that distributes all these graces. But just know that our biggest contribution is our goodness, our holiness. This is the way we live our martyrdom. The only way that we can be martyrs is if we focus on the inside of us. Because if we look to the outer, it's so much havoc, it's such a mess, and you say, how could I ever make a difference? Look at all these injustices and all of this. There's no way I could make a change of that. I could go to the streets and march like many do. And that's great. You have to do whatever you think you can do. Everything is valid to protest against injustices. But as Catholics, as spiritual warriors, we have to remember we have to go within, because it's not the outer, it's the inside where all the graces are. The Holy Spirit dwells within us. See, and if we go in, that's where we're going to find this fountain of graces and wisdom and the fountain of our mission. The mission of feeding souls, of rescuing souls, of strengthening souls that are so disheartened somewhere in the world at this very moment. And this is our contribution. And surely enough, probably one day, we probably will be in the front lines of some war or some situation where we physically are going to act. It can happen tomorrow, right? You don't know. This world changes like this. You see, overnight people appear in a war. And they never thought they were going to have a war. The next thing they know, blood is shedding everywhere. It's being shed everywhere. And this is what we have to be understanding about this earthly life. I remember I was living the glamorous life in California and having a life in the fast lane. And the next thing I know, I was in the jungles of Colombia, kidnapped by terrible rebels, tied up with a hood over my head in a cave infested with bats and all kinds of insects, and sentenced to death. Overnight. And there was no returning. I was going to get killed. All my family were in danger of getting killed. And that happened overnight. I came from a big party of Christmas into a coffee ranch plantation of one of my uncles. And I'm there driving, listening to my rock and roll music, cross the gate of the ranch, end of the story. 6 guerrillas jump out of the woods with machine guns, and that was it. My whole life flipped upside down, completely. God made something amazing out of that, and that's the reason I'm here today. But going through that was the most horrifying thing you could ever imagine to go through. I dug my tomb 3 times. See, they got me with a shovel to dig because I wasn't giving them the money fast enough. So they will do these psychological tortures. For 6 months I was with them. Today, when I speak about this, I look back and it feels like it happened to somebody else and not me. Because it's been 25 years of missioning, and the Lord healed me from those memories and from the resentments against the guerrillas, and all the things that happened are gone. You know, I don't have any of that in my heart. Today, they are a teaching. They are a good memory of the mercy of God. That's what I remember. I remember God's mercy. That's what I remember. And that's what I want to keep every day of my life, God's mercy. Because I am here because of His mercy. And He wants me to share His mercy with everyone. To tell everyone, God is merciful. And it's not like I read it in the catechism. It's not like I read it in the Bible. It's not like someone preached to me. No, it's like I know in my flesh, in my blood, in my bones, in my life, that God is merciful. Because He has been merciful to me personally. So I can testify to that. I say God is merciful, truly merciful. If He rescue a miserable sinner like me, He can rescue anyone. So salvation is for everyone. And we need to know that. The amazing love of God. And this is something that has to be present because we need to be ready to die for Him. We need to be ready to be martyrs of our faith. So do yourself a favor. Never be shy of your faith with anybody. Even if you lose their friendship, even if you lose whatever opportunities in this life, do not ever exchange the testimony of God for an adventure and an opportunity in this life, for a friendship, for money, for positions in this life, for whatever it is. Everything else is meaningless and it's going to come to pass. But the love of God will always be, will always stay. We should go for what is real, what is eternal. That should be our goal.